Hey, good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? How are you guys doing today? Hey, this is Gregory Wiles coming live to you from Houston, Texas, with this inspirational morning talk. Hey, for first-time listeners, I come on in the morning about 8:45 on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I just share my thoughts, what I've been inspired to talk about that day. Just a reminder, everything is uploaded onto YouTube, and you could always find everything there, but you can just search my name as Gregory, last name Wiles, W-Y-L-E-S, and you can find the channel there. But yes, Osmond Smith, good morning, sir. How are you doing today? Sir? Hey, but what I want to talk about, get into it, jump into it a little quickly here. What I want to talk about today is, this famous line where a lot of people use, a lot of us use it, who God bless, no one curse. Who God bless, no one curse, which is all true, But let's look at some of the qualifiers for being, being blessed and not being cursed, right? Because a little qualifier for it. It's a little qualifier for it here. So we can look at the story where that came from. We can look at the story where that came from in Numbers 22, 1 through 6. Numbers 22, 1 through 6. We can look at the story and drill down on it a little bit and see the qualifier for this, right? And discuss this a little bit, because this saying is true. Who God bless, no one can curse. But let's see. Make sure we qualify for it before we go out there and using it, right? So Numbers 22, 1. We can read from Numbers 22 and a little bit from 23 to bring out the proper story, right? So this is a story of Balak and Balaam, right? So Balak was the king of Moab, and Balaam was this guy who would pronounce curses on people, right? So let's go into this and see. So then the people of Israel traveled to the plains of Moab and camped east of the Jordan River across from Jericho. Balak, son of Zippor, the Moabite king, has seen everything the Israelites did to the Amorites. And when the people of Moab saw how many Israelites they were terrified. The king of Moab said to the elders of Midian, "This mob will devour everything in sight, like an ox devours grass in the field." So Balak, king of Moab, sent message to Balaam, son of Beor, who was living in his native land of Petor, near the Euphrates River. His message said, "Look, a vast horde of people has arrived from Egypt. They cover the face of the earth and threatening me. Please come and curse these people for me, because they are too powerful for me. Then perhaps I'll be able to conquer them and drive them from the land. I know that blessings fall on any people you bless, and curses fall on people that you curse." So good morning, Jillian. How are you doing this morning? So Balak, I want to point out first thing here, we're not going to dwell on it today, but Balak sent for Balaam, a man who pronounced curses. He's a prophet. He is an evil prophet, but not a false prophet. You might say, Gregory, well, you're not making no sense. He's an evil prophet, but not a false prophet, right? So it's a difference with evil and false. And as I go on, I'm going to explain what's the difference between he's an evil prophet, but not a false prophet. There's a difference, right? So a long story short, the king of Moab, Balak, he see the Israelites. He heard all the victories that God gave them. It's Ivor Thompson. Good morning, sir. How are you doing this morning? He saw the victories that God gave the Israelites, and he gets scared. He got scared, and he like, man, these people too much for me. They're going to beat me, all right? So what he did, he sent for a guy. He decided, I can't fight these people physically. I cannot fight these people physically. I have to fight them spiritually. I have to get a spiritual victory over them. Then I can defeat them in the physical world, right? This is what's going on here. So this guy, Balaam, that he sent for is what we can call today a voodoo guy, Obia guy, whatever the case you want to call it. but he's the one that can put a curse on them. All it's saying, we're going to fight them spiritually. We're going to tie them up spiritually, and so we can get the victory. But this is where this whole thing come in. Who God bless, no one curse. For people who just joined, that's what we're talking about. This phrase what we use a lot. Who God bless, no one curse. And we're showing where this Bible, this story came from. And what's the qualifier for that, right? So Balak said, I can fight these people spiritually. I can't beat them in the natural. This was one thing we prove in there, that the spiritual world is what run things. The spiritual world is what run things. And that's what these people who are doing these iniquities and all of that, that's their whole goal. Defeat you spiritually. The courts can't do them nothing. You know, nobody, a lot of people we see walking around the street, it's in the spirit they're tied up, right? So let's get down into this story here. So we go on to Numbers 23:1 now. So what happened? He sent for Balaam. I'm going to go through all that. You can read Numbers 22. First, God tell him not to go. And then God tell him, okay, go, but you're going to go and only say what I tell you to say. Only say what I tell you to say. God give him permission to go. So then he went, right? He went, he tell the guy here, let me read this first piece here quickly, right? In Numbers 23:1 through about 8, so I'm going to read. Then the Balaam said to Balak, this after he already went. He had a struggle with God. If you read this story, this is the one who will come up with the talking donkey and all that. Who remember this story when he was going on the talking on the donkey, and then the donkey talked to him because the donkey keep turning back. He saw the angel with the sword in the spirit, and the donkey just keep turning, and he whooping the donkey. After 3 times, the donkey talk and ask him, why you whooping me, right? That's all this is a part of the story, but I ain't going to all that. So that was on his way when he left his homeland to go and visit, to go to Balak. All that happened there. You can read that. But I'm just picking it up from when he got there now. So then Balaam said to the king Balak, build me 7 altars here and prepare 7 young bulls, 7 rams for me to sacrifice. Balak follows instructions, and the 2 of them sacrifice a young bull and a ram on each altar. Again, I want to point out the next theory here we're talking about. You see these sacrifices. Remember back in the days when you got to get all these sacrifices when these people kill the animal, and they make these different type of sacrifices to God for the sin offering and this grain offering and all of these offering when they kill these animals. You see the kingdom of darkness is the same copycat. These are principles. So it's the same principles they're using here to get these spiritual powers. So you tell him, build this altar, sacrifice all this stuff on it, right? Then Balaam said to Balak, stand here by your burnt offerings, and I will go and see if the Lord will respond to me. Again, the man who gonna put curses, the voodoo man, the Obi man, who you call to go and put curses. Hear who he got to. That's why it says the difference between him. He's not a false prophet. He is a wicked or evil prophet, but not false. So then he tell him here, he said, let me go and see what God tell me, bro. Let me go and hear what God said, right? Then I will tell you whatever he reveals to me. Let me read that over. Then Balaam said to Balak, stand here by your burnt offering, and I will see if the Lord will respond to me. Then I will tell you whatever he reveals to me. So Balaam went alone to the top of Bear Hill, and God met him there. Balaam said to him, I have prepared 7 altars and have sacrificed a young bull and a ram on each altar. The Lord gave Balaam a message for King Balak. The Lord, this is an evil man who pronouncing curses. The Lord tell him, bro, this is what you're going to tell this man. Then he said to him, go back to Balak and give him this message. That's why I was saying there's a difference between an evil and a wicked prophet and a false prophet. He is evil and he's wicked, but he's not a false prophet, because he is not going to lie to this man. He tell him, look, bro, I know you got a lot of respect for me. I put curses on a lot of people and blessings on a lot of people, but it's not by my doing. It's what the Lord tell me to do. And that's where this thing come from. And we can come down and see where this line come from. Who God bless, no one curse. We can come down. He's like, I can't do this. It's what God allowed me to do, right? So that's the difference there. He didn't lie into him. He's evilly using his powers for evil, but using false. A false prophet is the one like a wolf in sheep clothing. You think they're one thing, but they're something else. They come lying to you, pretending to be this Christian, but they're working for the kingdom of darkness. He is not. No, I put curses on you, but I got to go and hear what God's saying. right? So then there's the message where God give him to go back and tell the king, right? So the Lord gave Balaam a message for King Balak. Then he said to them, go back to Balak and give him this message. So Balaam returned and found the king standing beside his burnt offering with all the officials of Moab. This was the message Balak received. Balak now just translating verbatim what God tell him to tell the king. This is verbatim. This is what God tell him. This is why I want you to say it. Say it just like this. So Balak summoned me. This is what he's saying. Balak summoned me to come to Aram. The king of Moab brought me from the eastern hills. Come, he said, curse Jacob for me. That was the children of Israel, right? Curse Jacob for me. Come and announce Israel's doom. But how can I curse those who God has not cursed, right? This is what God telling him to say. God tell him to say, how can I curse who God have not cursed? How can I condemn those who the Lord has not condemned? So God didn't condemn Israel as the people of Israel. So God telling him, you go back and tell him, you ain't got no power to curse these people because I didn't curse them. So what I want to show you, God is the one who got to approve any curses coming at you. And if you following his laws, that's where this sin come from, who God bless, no one curse. He telling him, man, I can't curse these people because God ain't curse them. God didn't curse them, so I can't curse them. God ain't found nothing wrong with them. They're doing what they're supposed to do. Not that without sin, but they're repenting for the sin. They're not just going and do evil stuff, not falling out of God. So God said, no, you can't touch these people. I don't care how wicked you are. I don't care what degree you gone in the kingdom of darkness. You can't touch them because I ain't find nothing wrong with them. So that's where the line come from, who God bless, no one curse. Let's go on and see how this story go on. Then King Balak demanded of Balaam, what have you done to me? I brought you to curse my enemies. Instead, you have blessed them. And that's what's going to happen when you following these laws. When you doing the way how God wants you to do it. The people who try to put curses in you can turn into a blessing. Right, so he mad with the man. I bring you to curse these people and you bless them, right? But Balaam replied, I will speak only the message the Lord put in my mouth. That's the difference. He's evil, he's wicked, but he's not false. He's telling you straight up, bro. I ain't lying to you. I can't do this. This is what God allowed these people. God didn't find nothing. But let me explain now. Let me go on here and then I explain it a little bit. But the second time, Balaam didn't give it up. Balak didn't give it up. He said, man, no, look, come again. Let's try this stuff again, man. Maybe God tell you something different this time. He took him to the next side of the mountain and all that. He set up 7 more altars. And they're going over this whole process again. Balak tell him, okay, set up your altars. Let me go hear what God said. And if God replied to me again, and I can tell you exactly what he said. He went to God again, and this is what God tell him. This is a message Balaam delivered. God gave him this other message. Go back and tell the king just this. Repeat it verbatim. This is what he tell him now. He said, rise up, Balak, and listen. Hear me, son of Zippor. God is not a man, so he does not lie. Remember, this is what God telling him to tell him. So this is actually God speaking through him. What God, the message that God gave him. He's not human, so he does not change his mind. God said, I'm not human. I'm not going to change your mind wavering back and forth. Has he ever spoken and failed to act? Has he ever promised and not carried it through? So what he's saying, man, all these promises in the Bible, God's saying, I ain't going to promise you and not follow through on these promises. This is the promises I'm going to follow through on. If I tell you to do something, I can do it. Good or bad. Listen, I receive a command to bless. God has blessed and I cannot reverse it. He blessed, so that's where the term come from, who God bless, no one can curse. Even the biggest person in the kingdom of darkness, the devil himself, cannot do anything to you if God bless you. And if God find nothing wrong with you, you're repenting, you're following his laws to the best of the ability. When you slip up, you repent, you tell him you're sorry, you continue going. The enemy cannot do nothing. We give the enemy too much of power. The only power the enemy have over us is what we give him. Is what we give him over ourselves, right? So God is blessed. I cannot reverse it. No misfortune is in the plan for Jacob. No troubles is in store for Israel, for the Lord their God is with them. He has been proclaimed their king. So he's saying, look, this is the biggest man who putting curses on people. He said, no, God say you find nothing wrong with these people. So I cannot do nothing to them. Hence the saying, who God bless, no one can curse. So when we're saying this, next time we're telling people that who God bless, no one curse, make sure you qualify for it. Make sure you are following these laws. You're doing this stuff the right way, not falling out of gods and all of that. And then when God bless you and put the protective shield over you, no one can curse you. And let's look at this quickly in Job 1, 9, and 10, where this back up this statement here, where the devil himself was talking. Where the devil, this is Satan himself, was talking here in Job, right? When God asked him what he doing, and he said he was just roaming around the earth, and God asked him if he considered his servant Job. And this is how the devil respond. Man, he's got like, God, man, what are you telling about Job? You're trying to set me up. I really can't touch Job, and this is why you can't touch Job. Listen, he said, does Job fear God for nothing? Because God, said Job was one of the most righteous men. He was following God's law. He said, does Job fear God for nothing? Satan himself replied, have you not put a hedge around him and his household and everything he has? So the same thing, God bless, no one can curse. Satan himself saying, man, you put a hedge of protection around Job. I myself can't even touch him, man. So you're trying to set me up and ask me if I consider your son Job. You put a big hedge of protection around him, ironclad walls around this man's house and his family. Nobody could penetrate that. You have blessed the work of his hands and his flocks and herds and spread every through the land. So he's saying, the devil himself saying, man, look, you put a protection around this man, nobody can touch. Right? Until you take the protection down, then I could get access to him. Right? So that's what we're saying here. This is saying, who God bless, no one curse. But we got to make sure we qualify for it. And once we qualify for it, nothing is going to touch us. Those blessings, the curses people try sending against you, can turn into blessings. All right? It's simple in a nutshell, but you got to qualify. You got to make sure you're under the protection. Right? So here, this man, and if you go on and do it a third time, and the same thing, God keeps sending him back with messages saying, and then he start pronouncing what you're going to do to him. But if you really go on this story though, right? If you go further down, I think it's in Numbers 24, 25 or something like that. Balak said, look, bro, the only way you can put these curses can fall on them, and I could do what I need to do, you got to get them to sin first. And this is what you do. And he advised the king to send his women over there. Entice them with your women. And that's when the Israelite men start to commit adultery and start to commit all these sexual sin, all these beautiful Moabite women and all of that. And when they start sinning, that's the only time when God hand them over to those curses, if you go on and read the story. So the same people who was like, who God bless, no one curse, the curses come on them when they start sinning and stop doing the things to keep the protection around them. About 24,000 of them died with a plague, because that's how Balak said, look, bro, they ain't got no sin. They're repenting of the sin. They're not following no gods. They're not doing no much evil. But if you can get them to engage in these sin here, drop the guards and take them away from the things what they're doing, now I could put a curse on them, because now God can give me permission to curse them. God can give me permission to curse them. Not me putting the curse on them because I just want to do it. I got to wait until God give me permission to curse them. If you go on this story. And the plague hit them because they start to go with all these women. That's how we advise them how you got to defeat them. So what I'm saying again, the only power the enemy have over us is what we give him. Once we break down our protection by continuing doing a lot of sin, unrepentant, just doing it. Some things we're doing because of ignorance. Some things we're just doing because we just want to do it. But if you stay within the protection, if you fall down on your sin, you repent, you move on from it, and don't give the enemy that power over you. because we give him the power over us. He don't have no power over us. The only thing he has is what we give him. So that saying is right. Who God bless, no one can curse. But we got to qualify and stay protected, and then no curses gonna fall on us. All right, I can leave that there. Have a happy Monday, guys. Have a happy Monday. We'll talk again on Wednesday. Okay, bye. Mr. Stephen Adams, thank you for listening. Renita, Mr. Alan Dwayne, good morning. Good morning to you guys all.